Hello, I'm Liam Smith, and today we've got a special treat for you. We're delving into the scary and unsettling world of Walmart, where ordinary shopping trips take a scary turn. Get ready, because in this video, we'll be sharing 3 hair-raising Walmart scary stories that will leave you questioning whether the price of those everyday low prices is worth it. But before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell rung so you never miss out on our scary stories content. Now, let's embark on this unsettling journey into the aisles of fear. Story number 1. In the quiet town of Willowbrook, nestled beneath the shadows of ancient oaks, lay a Walmart like any other. But when the sun dipped below the horizon and the town's residents retreated to the comfort of their homes, the store took on a sinister character of its own. The Willowbrook Walmart, known to locals as Samuel's Labyrinth, was a place where the ordinary gave way to the extraordinary, where aisles transformed into eerie passageways, and where the manager, Samuel Matthew, unwittingly found himself entangled in a spine-tingling nightmare. Samuel Matthew, an affable man with a heart full of good intentions, took the role of Walmart manager to support his family. He was thrilled when he got the job, but his enthusiasm waned as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months. Something about the Willowbrook Walmart wasn't right. Samuel could sense it the moment he walked through the sliding glass doors at the beginning of his shift, which always began at twilight. He would start the night with the usual tasks, checking inventory and making sure the shelves were stocked. The store was quiet, except for the faint hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. But as the hours passed, strange occurrences became commonplace. Shelves would rattle on their own, products moved without explanation, and the air grew icy cold even in the middle of summer. Samuel couldn't shake the feeling that he was not alone in the store. One fateful night, as Samuel was inspecting the electronics aisle, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the store. He rushed towards the source of the sound, his heart pounding. There, bathed in an eerie crimson glow, stood a woman, her clothes drenched in blood, her hair matted and wild. Her eyes, wide with terror, locked onto Samuel's. "Help me! They're coming for me!" she pleaded, her voice trembling. Samuel's instincts kicked in, and he led her to the employee break room. He called 911, and within minutes, the police arrived. The police officers searched the entire store, but there was no sign of the blood-soaked woman or any evidence of a crime. Samuel watched in disbelief as the officers left, shaking their heads. The night had taken a strange turn, and the manager was left with more questions than answers. That encounter with the mysterious woman left Samuel haunted. He couldn't forget her terrified eyes or the eerie glow that seemed to follow her. It was as if the store itself had conspired to make her appear before him. Night after night, Samuel encountered bizarre and unsettling phenomena in the Willowbrook Walmart. Shelves would topple over, the sound of disembodied whispers filled the air, and cold, ghostly hands seemed to reach out from the darkness. He began to dread his night shifts, but he had no choice. The job paid well, and his family depended on him. Samuel couldn't shake the feeling that there was a malevolent presence in the store, something ancient and vengeful that tormented him. He couldn't confide in anyone. No one would believe his tales of the supernatural. One night, while doing his rounds, Samuel discovered an old employee logbook hidden behind some cleaning supplies. As he flipped through its pages, he uncovered a dark secret. The Willowbrook Walmart had a history of unexplained disappearances, eerie sightings, and paranormal disturbances dating back decades. A name frequently appeared in the entries: Samuel Matthew. The blood-soaked woman he had encountered was one of many who had mysteriously appeared in the store, only to vanish without a trace. Samuel was trapped in a sinister cycle, repeating the same events over and over again. He realized that the store had chosen him, or perhaps cursed him, to be its perpetual manager. Haunted by the revelations in the logbook, Samuel was determined to break free from the Walmart's sinister grip. He researched the occult and consulted with experts in paranormal phenomena. He learned about a ritual that could potentially sever the connection between him and the store, but it was risky and involved confronting the malevolent entity that lurked within. On a moonless night, with candles, salt, and incantations, Samuel performed the ritual deep within the labyrinthine aisles of the store. The air grew thick with malevolence, and the shadows seemed to writhe with unseen presences. As he recited the incantation, a chilling wind swept through the store, and a voice, ancient and otherworldly, whispered in his ear. Samuel's ritual culminated in a blinding flash of light that engulfed the store. When it subsided, Samuel found himself standing outside, the Walmart's glass doors locked and barred behind him. He was free, but the store had exacted a price. His hair had turned white, and his eyes held a haunted, distant look. The Willowbrook Walmart was gone, vanished from existence, taking its curse with it. Samuel Matthew never spoke of his time as the manager of the Willowbrook Walmart. The town and its residents continued with their lives, oblivious to the horrors that had transpired in the heart of their community. The blood-soaked woman, the eerie occurrences, and the malevolent entity were all but forgotten. But those who knew Samuel Matthew saw the change in him, the price he had paid to escape the nightmarish labyrinth of the store. Story number 2. Wyatt Thomas had never been a fan of working the night shift at Walmart. The flickering fluorescent lights, the eerie silence of empty aisles, and the distant hum of the refrigeration units combined to create an unsettling atmosphere. But he needed the job, and the night shift paid better, so he persevered. One chilly October evening, Wyatt arrived at the superstore just as the sun dipped below the horizon. He could already feel a strange unease settling in the pit of his stomach. He walked past the empty customer service desk, where a disheveled employee named Frank muttered to himself about strange occurrences at night. Wyatt paid little attention, attributing Frank's words to the tired ramblings of a long shift. As Wyatt made his way to the electronics department, his footsteps echoed through the store. A sense of isolation enveloped him, making him feel like the last person on Earth. He settled in at his post near the television displays, where he could watch the security cameras and browse his phone during the long, monotonous hours. Hours passed, and Wyatt's weariness began to take its toll. He could hardly keep his eyes open, and the bluish glow of the TVs seemed hypnotic. He fought to stay awake, but ultimately succumbed to exhaustion, his head drooping on the counter. Suddenly, a loud crash jolted him awake. He blinked, trying to make sense of his surroundings. The darkness had grown thicker, and he could barely discern the shapes of the products around him. He checked his phone. It was past 3 a.m. A loud thud came from the toy section, and Wyatt's heart raced as he realized he wasn't alone. Creeping through the aisles, Wyatt's nerves were on edge. He reached the toy section to find toys scattered on the floor, as if they had been violently thrown. Panic set in, but Wyatt convinced himself it must be a fellow employee playing a prank. He called out, "Frank, is that you? This isn't funny." No response. The silence was broken only by a distant, haunting whisper, carried by the wind blowing through the store. "Leave!" Wyatt's fear intensified. He scanned the area, but there was no sign of anyone. Trembling, he picked up a broken doll from the floor, only to discover a smear of what appeared to be blood on its face. Panic overwhelmed him, and he fled the scene, searching for the exit. As he navigated the dark, labyrinthine store, he stumbled upon the grocery section, where he saw the most horrifying sight of his life. Rows of refrigerated cases were now filled with blood-soaked meat, and the floors were slick with crimson fluid. The words, "Leave," were written in blood on the glass doors. He tore his gaze away and sprinted toward the stockroom, hoping to find safety. There, he met Frank, who was pale and trembling. Frank told him he had seen it too, the bloody apparitions and the warnings scrawled in blood. The two men decided to make their way to the security office. If there was any place where they could find answers or contact the police, it was there. They hurried down dimly lit aisles, all the while hearing whispers and incoherent cries. The figures of ghostly men and women seemed to move in the shadows, their bodies drenched in blood. Finally, reaching the security office, they checked the surveillance footage, which revealed the gruesome truth. It was as if the store had been transported to a different realm in the dead of night. Apparitions of people, their bodies mangled and dripping with blood, roamed the aisles. The message, "Leave," kept appearing in pools of blood. With a growing sense of dread, Wyatt and Frank realized that they were not dealing with mere pranks or hallucinations. They had stumbled into a terrifying nightmare, and it seemed there was no escape. The store had become a vortex of the supernatural, a place where the horrors of the past were trapped in a relentless loop of agony and despair. As dawn approached, the apparitions grew more aggressive. They reached out, grabbing at Wyatt and Frank with spectral hands, their touch icy cold. The two men knew they had to escape the store before the morning shift arrived, or they might become trapped forever in this horrifying limbo. Summoning every ounce of courage, Wyatt and Frank made a run for the exit. The doors swung open, revealing the first light of day. The apparitions, unable to cross the threshold, let out wailing screams of frustration and rage. The two men stumbled into the parking lot, gasping for breath and covered in sweat. Walmart, in the cold light of day, appeared completely normal. Shoppers bustled about, oblivious to the horrors that had unfolded during the night. Wyatt and Frank, their faces pale and their bodies trembling, could hardly believe what they had experienced. They left their jobs that very day, unable to erase the nightmarish memories of that fateful night. To this day, they are haunted by the bloody figures and the chilling message scrawled in blood. Wyatt, Thomas, and Frank were never the same, forever changed by the sinister secrets they had uncovered during their night shift at Walmart. In the end, the superstore returned to its routine, but the scars of that night would never fade. Rumors circulated among employees about the night shift at Walmart, whispers of a spectral presence that lurked in the aisles after dark. The horrors that had befallen Wyatt and Frank served as a warning to those who ventured into the realm of the supernatural, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved. And so, the tale of Wyatt, Thomas, and Frank became a cautionary legend, a dark story passed down through the ranks of Walmart's night shift workers. For anyone who dared to work during the witching hours, the memory of that bloody night would serve as a grim reminder of the price one might pay for venturing into the unknown. Story number 3. In the quiet, desolate town of Meadowbrook, there was a place that bore silent witness to the town's secrets: Walmart. Nestled at the edge of town, this Walmart store was the heartbeat of a community that only came to life during the day. But when the sun dipped below the horizon, a different world emerged, and there was one man who knew it all too well: Jackson Daniel Smith. A solitary figure, Jackson had been the night shift employee at Walmart for over a decade. He was a man of few words and even fewer smiles. His pale, gaunt face seemed eternally etched in a look of stern determination. Each night, he'd arrive in his beaten-up pickup truck and slip into the world of fluorescent lights and eerie silence. The cash registers were silent, the aisles were empty, and the cavernous store lay in the grip of a haunting quiet that seemed to seep into your soul. One chilling autumn night, as the full moon hung low in the sky, Jackson felt an unusual presence in the store. He couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Normally, the store was deserted during his shift, but this night was different. Every step he took seemed to echo back at him, as if the very building itself was alive. As he patrolled the aisles, scanning for any potential intruders, he noticed something bizarre in the electronics section. The TVs were flickering to life, their screens displaying a chaotic jumble of static and strange, indecipherable symbols. Jackson's heart raced as he reached for the nearest phone and called the police, his voice trembling as he whispered the address of the store. While he waited for the authorities to arrive, he wandered cautiously towards the malfunctioning TVs. As he approached, the symbols on the screen seemed to form words in a language he couldn't understand, and they appeared to be calling out to him. Panic gnawed at him, but an inexplicable compulsion urged him closer. Suddenly, the TVs fell silent. The eerie symbols vanished, and the room returned to darkness. Jackson couldn't believe his eyes. Everything appeared as it should, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something had been summoned. Moments later, the police arrived, and Jackson explained the bizarre incident. They searched the store thoroughly, but found no signs of intruders. The officers couldn't offer any explanation for the strange occurrences and left with a warning to call if anything else happened. With trembling hands, Jackson continued his shift, though he couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't alone. The aisles seemed longer, the shadows deeper, and the store's silence was no longer comforting, but oppressive. As the night wore on, strange things began to happen with increasing frequency. Carts rolled by themselves, the intercom crackled to life with eerie whispers, and shelves spontaneously toppled. Time seemed to stretch endlessly, and Jackson began to wonder if he had fallen into a nightmare. Then he heard a faint voice calling his name. It was soft, a gentle whisper that seemed to come from every direction at once. Jackson Daniel Smith, it beckoned. Fear gnawed at his core as he followed the voice, his flashlight revealing nothing but empty shelves and eerie mannequins. As he ventured deeper into the store, he encountered a door he had never noticed before, hidden behind rows of merchandise. The door creaked open to reveal a pitch-black corridor. Jackson, compelled by an unknown force, stepped inside. The corridor led to a massive chamber, its walls adorned with strange symbols, and in the center, a mysterious altar that glowed with an otherworldly light. Jackson had stumbled upon something beyond his comprehension, something ancient and sinister. He tried to flee, but the entrance had vanished, and the chamber's walls seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy. As the night waned and the first light of dawn began to filter through the windows, the police returned to find the Walmart store eerily quiet and Jackson Daniel Smith gone without a trace. The enigmatic symbols remained etched on the walls, and the chamber was empty, as if it had never existed. To this day, the town of Meadowbrook whispers about Jackson Daniel Smith, the man who vanished into the depths of the haunted Walmart. Some say he became a part of the darkness that lurked within the store, while others believe he encountered an ancient force beyond human comprehension. And so, the Walmart in Meadowbrook continued to stand as a silent sentinel, guarding its secrets during the day and revealing them only to those brave or unfortunate enough to venture in during the haunting hours of the night. Wow, those stories were truly spine-tingling, weren't they? If you enjoyed this video and got a good scare, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow thrill seekers. And if you have your own eerie Walmart tales to share, make sure to drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.